Hello, and welcome back to Convey with Caroline, the podcast where every story becomes your path to powerful communication and personal growth. I am your host, Caroline Giro, and this is episode 7 where we talk about personal branding. We've spent the last few episodes talking about finding our voice, tackling fear and imposter syndrome, as well as embracing emotional intelligence, among other things. We even explored AI tools for communication. But today, we want to talk about personal branding. And when we talk about personal branding, we're not talking about flashy logos or catchy slogans. Instead, we want to talk about how authenticity and values have become the beating heart of what a strong personal brand is today. So if you're tired of feeling unsure about how you present yourself, online or offline, stay tuned. We're going to dig deep into what really makes a personal brand resonate and how it can help you authentically stand out. Let's dive in. We've all seen on social media, we've seen content creators or people in particular niches who are trying to establish themselves in a particular industry, or it could even be you. You've been trying to get started, you want to get known for something, you want to create a brand, you've set up a couple of social media pages, or you're thinking of doing it. But it may not be very clear for you the steps to take in order to get started. When you watch some of the people that you admire, you sometimes have seen this particular type of content creator who wants to make videos and grow their brand, but you find that they're all over the place. You'll find one time they're making videos about travel, another time they're doing something to do with lifestyle. Sometimes you find them doing something out of character that is controversial just to get reactions and to get likes. Sometimes you see other people constantly chasing the next viral trend, copying what is popular without any real sense of their own message. And as you can guess, as followers, you're confused. Because 1 week they're this, 1 week they're something else. And even when they get quick likes, it doesn't last. And sometimes these people have a lot of skills. You know you're good at something. You're either great at video editing, or you're great at public speaking, or you're great at dancing, or you're great at cooking. But maybe you find that your engagement with your audience is quite low. And sometimes it's linked to not having a clear identity or a personal brand to show who you are and the value that you represent. The lesson here is that people cannot tell what you stand for or what you really do, and they won't stick around for long. They might interact with your content or what you're selling for a little bit, but they won't stay for long. Remember that branding is not about just being new or trendy all the time. It's about expressing who you genuinely are and why people should care. When we look back into the early days of corporate branding, at the time, you'd find that historically brands were all about logos, taglines, and ad campaigns. Just think iconic companies like Nike with their Just Do It slogan, or even the Coca-Cola campaign. Coca-Cola has spent a lot of money over the years on ad campaigns, branding, packaging, changing their bottling. They have their distinctive script logo and consistent messaging that help them become a global marketing phenomenon. However, over time, it became clear that branding wasn't just about looking new or cool. It was about values. And modern companies now emphasize on why they do what they do, not just about what they sell. In the past, it would be about who has the newest campaign, the newest thing we haven't seen yet. But now it's not just about being new or being bigger or being exciting, it's about your values. In the American space, we remember some years ago when we had the Colin Kaepernick issue when he took a knee, and as a result, a lot of people shunned him. But then Nike took a risk and publicly backed him and put him in quite a number of their ads. And it paid off because they are trying to show people that this is what we stand for. And nowadays, companies are more and more now embracing that idea of showing not just what we sell, but what we represent, the values that we represent. Come the late 1990s, we had people like Tom Peters who popularized the concept of personal branding. And he suggested that you are your own brand for the first time. But here is the catch. While a corporation can throw teams of designers, public relations experts, marketers, and brand strategists at a project, we individuals have to figure out our unique selling point by ourselves. And that process requires something called authenticity. We have to show up as our true selves. So What is personal branding? Personal branding is being deliberate. It's intentional. It's a process of identifying and cultivating and showcasing what is unique about you. What is unique about your skill set, your values, your expertise, and your personality in a way that clearly communicates who you are and what you stand for. Personal branding is not just about self promotion or telling everybody, look at me, I'm the best in my industry. It involves aligning every aspect of your public image, online and offline, with your authentic self. And I underline the word authentic because if you put up a front and you're copying other people, and as we've come to learn, a lot of the things we see online are not real. We've seen it even from fitness and body goals, where things are very well edited and you're working really hard to achieve a body that doesn't exist. And we see that sometimes it doesn't even end really well for some creators, because just like a story you're telling, it will reach a point where you will get exposed for your real self if you keep marketing something that you're not. We've seen it time and time again, even with the most successful personal brands out there, where they show us one side of them and then one day another side is exposed and everything goes bust. People will instantly recognize your purpose and the value you bring from what you decide to package as your personal brand. Remember, it's not just about updating a logo or even your website, it's about living your brand. So even as you package it, you have to start from the very beginning of what is your purpose. What do you stand for? What is your voice? And I have an episode about Find Your Purpose, which you can go back and listen to as a way to guiding you on clear steps to try and find out who you are, so that you can be able to package. Because we have to accept that a lot of us don't know ourselves. We are trying to figure out who we are. We found maybe our 15 minutes of fame in something that we hadn't quite decided it's what we want to do, but hey, here we are. And you find yourself moving alongside like a river, and you're going with the flow, and you need to be able to be now more conscious as to who you are. Now that we have seen the importance of knowing what a personal brand is, the intentionality of it all. Remember, just because you're good at something, you have a skill set, you know that you and your friends and your family members know that you're good at A, B, and C. You're very talented. Remember, the world doesn't know you exist. Only a very small bubble, and maybe you might be your industry's best kept secret, doesn't mean you have a personal brand. A personal brand only becomes real when you become intentional about taking it public. You become intentional about getting to let other people know what you stand for. When you create social media pages and begin doing something about it on those forums, when you start going public and going to forums and talking about it, only then can you be said to be working on your personal brand. So how do we translate these lessons into personal practice? Let's highlight a few points. One, the difference between being different versus being authentic. In the early corporate days, like I said, it was all about being new or different to get noticed. But in personal branding, your edge comes from being true to yourself, even if some people don't like it. Remember, it's better to be hated for being yourself than being loved for being someone you're not. Number two, values drive loyalty. Nowadays, we see corporate brands embrace clear values. Organizations are able to come forward and say that we are big on environmental stewardship, and they are able to shape their customer base to align with, this is a company that has the heart of the environment. We recycle, we do ABCD. So you have to ask yourself, what are your values? Your personal brand thrives when you know what your core values are and you leave them openly without hiding. So do not try to run away from what you feel is at the core of your heart. If you've been called to a particular, maybe service to others, or you have a gift for the environment, or you love animals, or you have a calling for, young children, or, you feel like the lessons from your motherhood journey or fatherhood journey need to be shared with other people. You feel like you have a calling to speak to young men, then you have to put that value within the personal brand that you create. Do not try to separate and put a clean cut between the product that you're selling and the value that you have. And you need to be able to live it openly, because that's who you are. You will always find a community of people who are like-minded, who will follow you because of those values, and they will stick there and they'll be loyal to you, right? Number three, social media and the 15 minutes of fame. We live in an era where anyone can have a platform. In the past, it used to be really hard to get noticed. Only a few, select few, because you'd find we'd have, the mainstream media, and you'd have maybe one show in particular, maybe looking for speakers to come talk about a particular topic, and they can only pick one person or two people or three people max. And if they like them, they don't call a different person the following week. They still call the same people over and over again. So we come from a point where the mainstream media would control who the personal brands we get to see are. But with the advent of social media, all this has changed. Anybody can get their 15 minutes of fame. Are you ready for when it comes calling on your door? So while we can all get the chance, it's empowering, but it's also quite chaotic. Consistency and authenticity cut through the noise. Right? When you don't know what you're doing, you're all over the place trying to catch up. You're always seeing somebody who has a better idea, you copy that. See a better one, you copy that. And you realize you have very low engagement. You can't get people to be loyal to you or to follow you because you're not consistent or true to yourself. Remember, do not chase controversy for clicks. Do not try to hop on trends or compromise on your personal values or morals just to yield short-term attention and then alienate your audience in the long term. Number 4, intentional differentiation. Like the example we saw in corporate branding, you invest time and money to refine a brand message in the corporate world. So when it comes to making your own personal brand, you also need to intentionally identify your unique selling point. What makes you, you. Sit down, take a piece of paper and write down your values, write down your message, write down the audience or the community you're looking to connect with, and invest some time and some resources in building this type of brand. Okay, so when you combine the old school idea of brand distinctiveness with the new school idea of authentic self-expression, your personal brand becomes a magnet for the right audience. I like giving some examples from the Bible because, as I said, I'm a person of faith. And today I'd like to give the example of Esther. Esther is a woman, a very strong woman in the Bible. And she's a prime biblical illustration of someone forced to reveal who she truly was for a bigger purpose. You remember she had the position, she was a queen, but her values and her faith and her true identity were hidden. When the crisis hit, she stepped forward, owning both her influence and her heritage and her past. She reached a point where for her to be able to free her people, for her to be able to achieve the thing that she's known greatly for, she couldn't do it with even this power that she had by itself. She had to go and tap into the values that she had. So in personal branding terms, Esther realized that her brand, let's put that in quote, her brand encompassed being royal, Jewish, and courageous enough to speak up. It wasn't just becoming like a perfect person, having a perfect speech or, having eye-catching robes, and I'm very sure as a queen, she must have really looked wonderful. It was about demonstrating character and values. And even in today's world, recognizing that our brand is most powerful when it's not just about the wonderful outfits we get to wear, and your makeup and your hair and looking perfect and you have the perfect lighting and perfect background, and looking so wonderful. Remember, it's not just about the glitzy visuals or even shock value. You've decided that you want to shock everybody or, you want to go half naked, but it's about standing firm in our real identity, especially when it is tested. Now, let's move from insight to action. I'd like to give you 5 ways to refine your personal brand in a way that blends corporate level strategy with authentic self-expression. 1, you need to define your values and purpose. What does this mean? It means you need clarity on what you genuinely care about so that your brand is not just a hollow message and people can tell that something is incomplete here. How do you implement this? I'd like you to list 3 to 5 core values. For example, the community you'd like to be part of, your creativity, your skill set, things that matter to you. And then draft a personal mission statement. Something like, I empower content creators to tell meaningful stories that inspire social good. Remember that Esther's moment of truth aligned her purpose with her position. So reflect on that big why and how it can guide your brand. Also, you can go back and look at my episode on finding your purpose equals finding your voice to help you with this. Number 2, identify your unique selling point, what I call USP. What does this mean? It means figure out the specific something, the something that you offer that's different from others. Everybody has something in them that is unique. There are a lot of people who can write, but maybe your style of writing is different, or what you want to write about is different. There's always a different spin you can put to your particular skill. How do you implement this? You can ask friends, family, mentors. If it's not clear to you, just ask your friends, what do you think that I do uniquely well? You'll be surprised that others sometimes see in you something you cannot see yourself. Look at your past work or content for patterns that you did not know exist. Are you known for a particular style of approach, right? So whether it's your positive energy, or even maybe your editing style, or maybe how you go about it, maybe your process, you just need to own it consistently. Number 3, aim for consistency, not constant novelty. So you don't have to get tired always chasing trends. While corporations often rebrand, personal branding thrives on reliability over shock factor or controversial factor. What you need to do is to do something the right way over and over and over again. How do you implement this? Keep your username, your color scheme, or tone of voice consistent across platforms, and resist the urge to chase trends that conflict with your core mission, right? Innovation is great, it's wonderful. But if every new post contradicts your last one, people get confused about who you really are. 4, demonstrate authenticity. What does this mean? Show real life behind the scenes. Talk about challenges and share your growth, right? Nowadays, people don't want to see perfect processes. They want to be taken through, how did you do it? How did you begin? How did you start? Instead of struggling to find perfect content, we need to be able to also show and own the journey. And how do you implement? Share the personal journey, both the success and the struggles with your audience. Engage in conversations with your community instead of just broadcasting polished highlights. Remember, it's better to be hated for being yourself than being loved for someone you're not. Authenticity will eventually, over time, build genuine connection. 5, leverage tools and teams wisely. What does this mean? Don't be afraid to collaborate with others or use tech tools to streamline your brand efforts. AI is here, it's here to stay. And if you learn how to use AI to your advantage, you're already at a head start over other people, over your competition. So consider creating a brand kit. Either you can do it yourself with apps like Canva or AI scheduling tools, and then maintain consistent visuals and posting times, all right? Seek feedback from close friends or professionals on your social profiles, and be able to implement some of the constructive criticism that you get. So I'd like to give you my weekly challenge. I'd like you to create a 1-page brand blueprint. In it, I'd like you to write your core values, write your personal mission, and also identify your unique selling point in short bullet points. Then apply it in at least one place. It could either be on a social media profile, on a piece of content, or on a presentation that you're about to make in good time. Please share it in our online community with the changes you made. Did you notice any immediate shifts in engagement or self-confidence? Please tell me in the comments. So as we wrap up episode 7 on personal branding and aligning your voice with your identity, I want you to remember that branding is not a one-time gimmick. It's a journey of self-discovery, expression, consistency, and authenticity. The world of corporate branding taught me the value of differentiation and strong visuals, but personal branding adds the crucial element of being true to who you are. You do your best work and attract the best opportunities when you're real, purposeful, and consistent in how you present yourself. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and share with someone who might be struggling to find their personal brand. Because standing out means standing confidently in your authentic self. Until next time, remember, the world needs your voice. So let's convey excellence, one authentic brand at a time.